Welcome to the Imperial Grandstand. I'm Alan Imperial,
I'm Carlos Del
and
Rosario.
on today's episode, we're going to be talking about more D&D with Gamora this time.
Oh yes, last time we did Star-Lord, this time we're doing Gamora.
I think it's a natural segue from one to the other because they are, to me, the quintessential members of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
So, my question is, what is Gamora?
Who is Gamora?
I'll do you one better. Why is Gamora?
Bautista. I just boo.
Yes. So,
Really
going
happy
back,
for my Filipino brother.
yes, going back to it. What class is Gamora? Now, to reiterate, we're not trying to give you the perfect build with all the stats. Just thoughts on Gamora's abilities and how it might, go along with D&D.
Yeah.
Just as a casual observer of both the mediums.
Now, of course, we're only going to be using stuff from the movies, the MCU. Um, if you want to bring up some ideas from the comics, please let us know down in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. So, let's begin. So, with her stats.
Yeah. Let's start off with strength.
You know what? I would say her strength is very high. It's probably due to her cybernetic appendages.
Yeah, her dad really helped her with that.
Yeah, and you may not think she's that strong, but she does manage to carry that gigantic gun in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, right?
Yeah.
So someone really smart could probably do the calculations on that, but that's obviously superhuman strength that she has. So
She also goes up against her sister, who's all cybernetics, and never loses a beat there. So I think there has to be some high strength there, in my opinion.
absolutely.
So,
All right.
but for me, it's gonna be a toss up what her highest skill set is between strength and dexterity.
Yes, absolutely. Now, her dexterity is also pretty good. And I'm pretty sure she's proficient. I think she's proficient in many weapons, just being the daughter of Thanos.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The weapon that she uses most of the time, I would say, is akin to a longsword.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
It's versatile. You could either go one-handed or two-handed.
yeah. I was thinking short sword, but no, because it can go one-handed and two-handed, it's a longsword. It's closer to a longsword.
Yeah. You need that versatility.
Yeah.
The other thing she's really great at is throwing knives.
Throwing knives. She's really good at throwing things. She throws that dagger at Star-Lord, and even when they're in some trouble, yeah, she manages to just throw something at Rocket when he's trying to fly the ship, or when Rocket and Star-Lord are both trying to fly the ship. Yeah, it's
They
just
can't agree.
they can't agree on that. So there we go. Constitution is really good as well because we have a few examples. Survives in space.
Yeah.
She survives that fight with Nebula when they're on Ego. That was a brutal one. Unfortunately, she does not survive being thrown off a cliff.
Uh, so yeah, her constitution is good, but it's not good enough.
Well, fortunately, the DM had plans to bring another version of her from another parallel universe, or another timeline, as it were. So we're all good there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Her wisdom is pretty good. She doesn't have a lot of uses for wisdom within the Guardians movies, but it's like, yeah, no, nothing to believe that it's bad. She does have ocular implants.
Yeah,
Which
and also the respiratory stuff.
yeah, which I think enhances the way she perceives things. So yeah, she probably has good wisdom. Um, Intelligence is actually pretty good because she does find the Soul Stone.
Yeah.
He can't, Nebula. Because I found the map to the Soul Stone, and I burned it to ash.
She's the reason why the Infinity Wars uh, set off because she found out where the stone was.
Yeah.
Because without that, I don't think Thanos would have had a reason to get the others.
And I do say she has that would take a fair amount of investigation. Also, she does have a few contacts here and there without throughout the universe, so that's good. Um, Also, she does provide a battle plan for the Reavers at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, her and Quill are just bouncing off each other, talking about how they're gonna attack and defend against Ronan.
Yeah, so that would take some history check and some investigation. So yeah, I could see how that intelligence is good.
The stone reacts to anything organic. The bigger the target, the bigger the power surge.
I would say her dump stat though is a charisma.
She can't lie. She was never taught to lie.
But I never taught you to lie. That's why you're so bad at it.
I mean,
It's an ongoing thing.
somebody has a really good charisma check on her, and what's her response? Grabs him by the throat and
No! What the hell? I know who you are, Peter Quill, and I am not some starry-eyed waif here to succumb to your pelvic sorcery.
Yeah, like Thanos did not raise her to be a diplomat. I think she solves a lot of her problems with her strength and her. Yeah, I would
her
say.
dexterity.
I would say some DMs do this, but for intimidation, she's very good at intimidation. But some DMs actually sometimes use the strength stat for intimidation, which makes sense.
Homebrew.
Yeah, it's a homebrew type thing, but like no, for Gamora that makes sense if you want to do that because yeah, she will usually use the way of might and to intimidate and frighten her enemies. So
Yeah.
yeah, instead of charisma alone.
She is not the bard of the group.
Yes. So since she kind of packed her abilities more into physical traits, less in wisdom and intelligence and charisma, I would say that she's her best class is as a fighter.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, there might be arguments for more dex based, uh, or more stealth based stuff, but in the movies, she's always attacking head on.
She uses as armor light armor. I would say studded armor. Actually, her
It is
her,
leather.
her costume is yeah. If we just look at that, it's like yeah,
Yeah.
that's studded leather right
Look
there.
at
Look at that. And I think she's proficient in a lot of things. Again, she probably uses a versatile longsword. She's good at ranged weapons, heavy weapons.
I thought your thing was a sword.
We've been hired to stop an interdimensional beast from feeding on those batteries, and I'm gonna stop it with a sword.
It's just swords were your thing and guns were mine. But I guess we're both doing guns now. I just didn't know that.
So, yeah, she uses both ranged and melee weapons, and I really think that in her fighting style, she uses a lot of acrobatics and athletics. The big example for me is going to be the fight against that battery monster, or I don't know what that is.
Yeah, the interdimensional monster.
There we
was,
go.
Yeah, fighting in the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. That's a mouthful. But yeah, I would say that's those would be her proficiencies. Acrobatics and athletics, just to double down on her physical abilities, and her saving throws as a fighter would be strength and constitution, I would say.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it makes sense because she's clearly using her strength check for her saving throw when Thanos has her by the throat.
I would say if she were to have a feat, she would have the feat of athlete. You have undergone extensive physical training to gain the following benefits: increase your strength or dexterity score by 1 to a maximum of 20. When you are prone, standing up uses 5 feet of your movement. Climbing doesn't cost you extra movement. You can make a running jump, a running long jump or a running high jump after moving only 5 feet on foot rather than 10 feet. So yeah, there's many examples of this. She's a very mobile woman. She moves around very easily.
I think the best example for athlete is gonna be the prison breakout. She definitely has an advantage in strength and dexterity.
Oh yes. Yeah, no, you bet that if there's a really good fight scene, Gamora in Guardians of the Galaxy is usually the one doing it. So I mean, yeah. Uh, so as for a fighting style, as a fighter, you get to choose a fighting style. I would go with dueling, in which when you are wielding a melee weapon in one hand and no other weapons, you gain a +2 bonus to damage rolls with that weapon.
And this totally makes sense because throughout the Guardians of the Galaxy, she only has that what we're gonna call a longsword. I have no idea what weapon that is.
Yeah, it looks like a short sword, but the way it functions is more like a long sword, I
It's the
feel.
versatility.
Yeah.
So clearly, she wouldn't be using it if she didn't have that advantage.
Also, as a fighter, she would get second wind, have a limited well of stamina that can draw on to protect yourself from harm. On your turn, you can use a bonus action to regain hit points equal to 1d10 plus your fighter level. On second level, you get Action Surge. You can push yourself beyond your normal limits for a movement. On your turn, you can take one additional action on top of your regular action and a possible bonus action.
Again, her fighting style just allows her to uh, not stop while fighting.
Yeah,
She's never standing still.
keeps on going. Yeah, and this allows her multiple attacks, and yeah, she is rather spry, so it makes sense. Um,
Look at her just kicking butt in the prison break scene.
At third level, you get to choose a martial archetype. Now, we'll get to this later, but going back to it, you choose an archetype that strive to emulate in your combat styles and techniques, such as champion, and you get to get features at third level, 7th, 10th, 15th, and 18th level.
And beginning at 5th level, you get something called extra attack. Where you can attack twice instead of once whenever you take the attack action on your turn. And she's never casting spells. She's never doing support. She's just swinging that freaking sword
Swing the sword, or
or shooting.
shooting, or she's always attacking. So yeah, that totally makes sense with her character. Beginning at 9th level, you can re-roll a saving throw that you fail. If you do so, you must use the new roll, and you can't use this feature again until you finish a long rest. So again, yeah, that's yeah, it's pretty dark, but yeah, that's an example of it.
Oh man.
Going back to a martial archetype, the archetype that I think that she's closest to within fighter is champion.
Yeah.
The archetypical champion focuses on the development of raw physical power honed to deadly perfection. Those who model themselves on this archetype combine rigorous training with physical excellence to deal devastating blows.
Clearly, Nebula and Gamora have been training their entire lives.
So this makes absolute sense that she and Nebula have honed their bodies to perfection, and she is the most fierce The most fierce woman in the galaxy.
Everything I hid about myself, he taught me.
And in doing so, made you the fiercest woman in the galaxy.
Something called improved critical begins when you choose choose the champion archetype at 3rd level. Weapon attack score hits a critical hit on a roll of 19 or 20. Basically, now you could crit 10% of the time.
Yeah, and you know what? She does have an awful lot of criticals in the Guardian saga.
Yeah. Um.
Touch.
Oh, Peter, I felt that in my bones, or in a bone.
You see, that was an action surge, or maybe multi attack. I don't know. Either one. You see, it's layered, but didn't get him with the first one. Got him
Yeah.
with the second attack.
Oh man, that beast just took another crit right there. Woof. Yeah, a lot of criticals in Gamora's arsenal there.
Yep. Another thing that we have at 7th level is Remarkable Athlete. You can add half your proficiency bonus to any strength, dexterity, or constitution check you make that doesn't already use your proficiency bonus. In addition, when you make a long jump, the distance you can cover increases by a number of feet equal to your strength modifier. So yeah, we see her long jumping quite a lot in the Guardians saga.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing with the remarkable athlete, it helped her, I think, with the actual check for the Power Stone. So, bada bing.
At level 10, you can choose the second option from fighting style class feature. And what I'm going for her second class feature is a great weapon fighting. When you roll a 1 or a 2 on a damage die for an attack you make with a melee weapon that you are wielding with 2 hands, you can re-roll the die and must use the new roll, even if the new roll is a 1 or a 2. The weapon must have the two-handed or versatile property for you to gain this benefit.
Yeah, and every time you see her attacking something, she's always doing damage. She's always hurting. So
Oh yes.
there are never whiffs.
Yes. I know that she wasn't friends with Groot at the time, but she really did take Groot apart that time.
Oof.
And starting at 15th level, your weapon attacks score a critical hit on a roll of 18 to 20.
Yeah. Again, this just helps the cause of going from 10% critical hits to 15%.
Yeah, so you get to double those dice, or however you do it. However, but she is a damage dealer. This one with the multiple attacks.
100%.
That's really cool. Now I say that she leaned more towards champion, but one could make the argument that she is a battle master.
Yeah, and that's because you have this thing called maneuvers. You learn 3 maneuvers of your choice. Many maneuvers enhance an attack in some way. You can use only 1 maneuver per attack. You learn 2 additional maneuvers of your choice at 7th, 10th, and 15th level. Each time you learn a new maneuver, you can also replace one maneuver you know with a different one.
Yeah.
And clearly she has many different ways of attacking. So,
Yeah, she definitely does that. So one of the first maneuvers I would say she has is disarming attack. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can expend 1 superiority die to attempt to disarm the target, forcing it to drop 1 item of your choice that it's holding. You add superiority die to the attack's damage roll, and the target must make a strength saving throw. On a failed save, it drops the object you choose. the object lands at its feet. The next one that I have is Grappling Strike. Immediately after you hit a creature with a melee attack on your turn, you can expend one superiority die, then try to grapple the target as a bonus action. Add the superiority die to your strength athletics check. So yeah, she does this a few times. I know that she grapples that guard in Guardians of the Galaxy when they're escaping the kiln.
I'll need this.
Good luck. It's internally wired.
I'll figure something out.
Yeah, that's right.
And yeah, no, it totally seems like something she would.
She also chokes out Mantis in Volume 2.
Who are you people? What is this place?
The third maneuver that I could think of is a precision attack. When you make a weapon attack roll against a creature, you can expend one superiority die to add it to the. You can use this maneuver before or after making the attack roll, but before any effects of the attack are applied. So yeah, this just makes her,
More powerful.
even more powerful, even more precise, as it says. So yeah, no surprise there.
Or you could definitely make that argument that she's not champion, but battle master.
I don't know if this is applicable, but at third level with Battle Master, you gain proficiency with one type of artisan's tools of your choice. Can't really think of anything in the movie, but she has it. Very cool. But this I think is applicable. Starting at 7th level, she gets Know Your Enemy. If you spend at least 1 minute observing or interacting with another creature outside combat, you can learn certain information about its capabilities compared to your own. The DM tells you if the creature is equal, superior, or inferior in guard to 2 of the following characteristics of your choice, etc., etc.
Yeah, and this is just her knowing about people around her.
Yeah. And I feel that she does that as a fighter. It's like you're constantly sizing your opponent up, but I think she definitely uses it when they're up against Ronan's people in the Xandar attack run, where she is listing down their weaknesses to defend Xandar against the Power Stone.
Nice.
Once they know we're on board, Ronan will isolate himself behind impenetrable security doors on deck, which I can disable by dismantling the power source.
We'll make it go on about Battle Master, but yeah, that's what I would say she has for maneuvers and her main abilities in Battle Master. But personally, I'm leaning more towards Champion. It feels a little simpler, and it's like, yeah, no, I could see how she's more of a champion than a Battle Master.
The only reason I would say you could make that argument for Battle Master is the fact that she makes Peter drop a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Besides that, Champion to me just feels more appropriate.
Yeah, I'm sure she has all those abilities and even more abilities, but it's like, to me, Champion feels a little truer to her character.
And the thing is, while we're watching the movies, you don't see her re-roll stuff because it's just like, oh, she did a crit there. Oh, she's making that long jump.
Yeah. Now, some would say that she's a rogue, and I could see that. She would probably have sneak attack, and her archetype would probably be that of an assassin. With assassinate, you are at your deadliest when you get the drop on your enemies. You have advantage on attack rolls against any creature that hasn't taken a turn in combat yet. In addition, any hit you score against a creature that is surprised is a critical hit, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I would say that she doesn't sneak around too much in the Guardians movies. She's
Only time there was a sneak attack, in my personal opinion, is when she kills Thanos.
Oh yes, that's right. That's fake Thanos. Yes, that was definitely a critical hit, but as it turns out, the DM was just stringing us along.
He's like, that's an illusion.
No.
Or possibly a simulacrum.
Quite possibly.
But definitely not the Thanos they were after.
Reality is often disappointing.
Ah.
But to sum up, yeah, I think that she's a fighter who specializes more in her physical abilities than her mental and charismatic abilities.
Yeah.
Which is fine, and yeah, she's a very impressive fighter.
Yeah, I feel that the way that Gamora is built as a character, she's there more for combat than she's there for RP, and that's totally fine for a lot of characters.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that's great for a character because that's her arc where she was built to be this this killing machine, and she's trying to get out of that. It's like and Star-Lord is trying to warm her up a bit. Just trying to, I wouldn't say make her more human, but maybe a little more approachable.
Make her more approachable, I think, is the best term.
Thank you very much for watching. I hope
we didn't waste your time.